Hello, James here, and welcome to Scotland. We're in the middle of summer and we've got torrential rain. We're heading on a family trip to the north of France, and we are heading down to Langley first, and we're going to go down the M6 and then the M40, and then tomorrow we're going to head towards Folkestone and cross the Eurotunnel and then through to Calais. And then we're going to end up in Le Touquet in the north of France. It's like a beach holiday resort. We're actually just outside of there in the villa, so we're sharing that with our friends. So you might be wondering, where's the family? Well, they're not here, and like everything in life, there's a wee story behind all this. So, as you know, we were supposed to get the Kona at the end of this month, which means we wouldn't have had the car for the holiday summer trip, and we would only have a Nissan Leaf 40, and it wasn't something that I'd really want to use for getting to the north of France, which is 560 miles away. I would do it on my own, but with the family, they wouldn't be, I don't think they'll be too chuffed waiting around for the car to charge and cool down. The plan was to get a long-range EV to cover all our needs, including Jen's, which was going down to Manchester without refueling or recharging the car. But for me, I wanted to test it out to go to our family holiday trip to the north of France, and I thought, well, seeing that we got the car early, we might as well give this a go. So the reason why the family isn't with me is because we didn't think we were going to get the car in time for the holiday, so we booked some flights down to London. So they are actually taking a flight soon down to London. They should be at the airport now, and they should get to Heathrow by about 2-3 o'clock today. Hey.
Hey, we're at the airport at the gate now.
Alright, okay. How's the boys?
Just waiting. They're okay. It was, God, you have to like queue to get checked.
Alright.
Checked for the iPads and stuff.
Okay. Should have jumped in the car with me then?
That would have been fine. Well, actually, no, it would have been fine. Not for 8 hours.
Yeah, there's nothing in it. The boys will just have the headphones on and playing on IT anyway.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Right, anyway, I'm actually seem to be doing alright for time. I will speak to you in a bit then. Have a good flight.
Take it easy.
Okay,
bye.
you too, bye.
Bye.
So for this trip, it's about 400 miles to the outskirts of the M25 in Langley, and if it wasn't for this weather, I think we would have made it with one charge. So I've been using a better route planner, and it seems to be really good if you can take a little bit of time to punch in some of the details, and that includes the weather and what the car can do. So at 65 miles an hour, I put the car down for, I think, 4.3 or was it 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. And I put in, it's wet, the weather's wet, and we've actually got a side wind here, but I will have to change that later because down towards London it's a bit of a headwind, and that was going to change things a little bit. So it says we should have 2 stops, one for 30 minutes as a top up and another one for 50 minutes just to get to the rest of the way down towards London. So all in all, we should only need about an hour and 10 minutes of charge according to a better route planner. We're almost at Killington Services, which is about 3 miles away, and we've clocked 137 miles. So it'll be a 140 mile trip so far, and it says we've still got 100 miles left on the gasometer. So it's not too bad, because on a better route planner, it's saying for me to reach here I should be down to about 41%, and if I check on here, I am actually currently on 41%. So I'm a little bit lower than what it's guessing, just because of the weather really, and of the headwind, which I didn't account for. So the low air pressure coming up towards the north came a little bit quicker than I thought, maybe because I was travelling 70 miles an hour down south. We're gonna come off here, I'm gonna use the facilities, grab a coffee, and then I'll tinker around with a better route planner to see if it can make the next journey, or the next part of the journey, a little bit more accurate. But so far it's pretty good. You don't really need to do much. You just send your location, punch in a few details including weather if you want to, and then hit go, or you can just get an average and find out where it's going to take you. Okay, great. Looks like it's charging at the moment, so I am just going to pack up a few things and going to head in and use the facilities because I'm bursting. Hopefully that's going to charge up and not stop. I'm just going to grab a couple of things, grab a coffee, maybe actually grab some lunch now, and just come back as soon as. Only need 25 minutes on here apparently. I might charge up a little bit more, and then we'll basically reset everything and head off. So it looks like the monsoon has struck again, and I need to get out of the car in about 20 miles to charge up, just for the last little top up. And due to all the traffic jam, I'm not actually using that much energy. So we're actually up to 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour rather than the quoted from a better route planner at 3.5. So we should only need to charge up for about, I'd say, 20 minutes. Hopefully the rain will die down and sandbar when I get there. I can't really even see out the window. The LK system still seems to be working, and it's still following the car ahead, even though we're only doing 44 miles an hour. And it's actually better having that on. It's actually still keeping me in lane as well, because I find it a little bit hard to see for myself, and I'm actually quite surprised, because on the Nissan Leaf it would have cut out by now and probably wouldn't even give me the actual cruise control. So it's actually doing not too bad. So it looks like we're at Sandbach now, and we've got about a mile left before we turn off onto the co-op with the two polar chargers. Well, before I go further than that, I might as well talk about all the different cards that I've got and all the different apps. I've got a Charge Place Scotland card, and that gets me all the charge spots in Scotland and in England for all the Charge Your Car and Charge Place Scotland units. That's one RFID. Next is Polar, which is what I'm using now, and this Polar card gets me onto these Polar chargers and any other sort of like chargers south of Manchester, and it seems more popular down in England. So if you are in the Midlands, well, between Manchester and all the way down to London, I suppose, you need one of these Polar cards, as well as Charge Your Car. Actually, I think Polar, you can, yeah, actually, scrap that. You can use the Polar with the Charge Your Car stuff as well, chargers. And then this one is for England. For parts of England, it's the New Motion card, and it's mostly used over in France. So we're going to be using that once we get over there, most likely, if we need to. Then we'll go into apps. So I'm just going to hit my apps here. Electric Highway, which is an app base only. So if you don't have any internet, then you're pretty much knackered. Then got the charger car, which can activate, which doesn't always work. New Motion, you can use the app. It's got a map based system as well, and then you got the Polar Plus as well, which has a map. Then you got Ionity as well. Yeah, I think North of France is not that much there, so it was only the New Motion that seems to be the most useful, and it was free. So that's all the different apps that I need to actually get charging around Europe. It's not ideal, but it's just how it is at the moment. Hopefully, if we need to do this trip in the future, there'll be less apps and everything might be consolidated into one system, hopefully. But until then, I'm gonna catch a nap for the next 20 odd minutes, and I will speak to you guys yeah, when I've had the rest. So we just finished charging up at Sandbark, and we got about 84% on the battery. I stayed a little bit longer than I anticipated, just because I need to go and grab a coffee from Greg's. So I got a Americano with an extra shot of espresso. Do fancy stuff like that at Greg's. While I was getting that, when I was getting back to the car, there's someone that parked next to me who was unscrewing the caps for the tyre, to pump up the tyre for the car, and then realised that it wasn't like a bay for actually pumping up your tyres, it was actually the one next to it. So they decided to reverse out as I was unplugging and then blocked me in. So even with the reverse beeping on the car, they still wouldn't move. So after I pumped the horn a couple of times before they figured out that I wanted to get out of the spot. And yeah, it just goes to show that people are still not really that clued up about charging points on well, on anywhere really. I mean, that was a petrol station. You'd think that people might be a little bit more clued up. Still, I managed to get out after about 2 minutes of waiting, and yeah, but the Polar chargers, they work great. They just worked first time. I was pulling 47 kilowatts. I was there for about 40 minutes altogether. So we're back on the M6, and I'll try and get up to 70 miles an hour if I can. It's normally quite busy around Birmingham, so I'm going to go around the ring road because I don't really fancy going into that. And yeah, we've got 100 and, let's check the map, 163 miles left to go. So we've covered over 350 miles so far, and we've got about 48 left to go. And the gasometer saying we've got 94 left in the tank. So we've got more than enough to make it to a destination. But I'll need to charge up anyway for tomorrow's trip through Folkestone and then through to Calais, through the Eurotunnel, and then off to Le Touquet. And I think what I'll do now is go to High Wycombe and charge up there, because they've got like a cinema complex with a rapid charger. It's another Polar one, hence why I want to go to that rather than using any of the ones on the M40 with electricity, just because of the issues on some of their chargers with the Kona. So the Kona at 70 miles an hour, you can actually get from Scotland to London in 2 charges, and those 2 charge wasn't even running the car dry. I mean, we could have probably done it with 1 charge and charged at 200 miles down on the motorway. But the problem with that is it means that if I'm running it that low, I need to charge a car for an hour and a half. So it kind of works out roughly the same. The only difference is I broke it up between 45 minutes and 40-minute break. instead of a 1 hour and a half charge. So at first I wasn't quite sure why a better route planner was making me stop that little bit earlier rather than let me go the distance. But I think it's accounting for your sort of like bladder range of about 130, 150 miles of range before you need to take a break. And I think that was a good plan altogether. It was a little bit flaky because it was on a web browser, but all in all, a better route planner is actually quite good, even just to get a rough idea of where to stop, or the sort of like best places to stop, especially when you can actually nominate which charge points that you want with adding it to your favourites. And the fact that you can add your favourite network on there and visit those charge points is great, because it means that we can actually bypass all the electricity by just using that web browser. And even though it did pick the one electricity because there was no polar between Scotland and halfway down to England. So to get to our final destination in Langley, it's saying that we're going to get there for 7:06. So that means that we've been on the road from 9:20 and it's 7:05. So that would mean we would have been driving for 9 hours and 45 minutes to get from Livingston all the way down to the edge of London. And that's not bad, actually. It's not that far off from you driving an ice car, because you have to stop for lunch and you have to stop for a break, even if it is like a 30-minute siesta like I had. So I reckon the Kona is probably as close as you're going to get to internal combustion engine for long trips, and having those breaks between is definitely something that everyone should be doing anyway. And for me, this trip was actually pretty quick, because I was actually trying to get to 70 miles an hour as quick and as often as I could. If it wasn't for the roadworks and the traffic, I reckon we could have got here for at least 2 hours earlier, and I don't see why we couldn't, because that was what a better route planner was saying, that I'd be able to get here for roughly about 5 o'clock. So, slight change of plan. I've decided to head to Harvesters here in Langley, because High Wycombe, the only charge point that was there was an iPace was charging, and there was also a VW e-Golf waiting to charge as well. So I thought I'll head down here and chance my luck. And lucky for me, it's working and I'm just charging up. Might as well look at some of the numbers here that we've got. So if we check on here, have a look, EV, we're at 18%, oh well, we're up to 19 now. 401 miles so far, 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which is really good. Overall driving is 8 hours and 14 minutes. We need to do this last charge so we can get to Folkestone through Calais and then onto La Touquet, and we only need about 160 miles for that, but I'm going to top up a little bit more because Jen's going to be driving tomorrow, so I think she'd rather see higher numbers than the numbers that will get there with 5% state of charge. So I'm just going to charge up here, probably get it up to about 80-90%. Oh well, so I was hoping the DC fast charger or the CCS would work, but none of these units seems to be working at the moment. For CCS, they kind of cut out for the Kona. I'll put that on plug share. I had to put it onto AC, so I'm only charging at 7.5 kilowatts and we're only going to be here about 40 minutes. So, well, it's just a little top up. Not that we need it, but it would have been nice to fill it right up. So I'm just going to set a timer, get some food with everyone, and then we'll head off into Eurotunnel. So we made it here to Sarus in the north of France, and it's a lovely villa that we've got, and the kids are just running wild at the moment, and we've just been to the shops, got some provisions for the holiday week, or at least for a couple of days, and we might as well talk about the car. We've covered 545 miles, and it's 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. We did mostly, or as much as we could, a constant 70 miles an hour. And the aircon was on all the time, and I even had the heated seats on also. And the overall travel time was 11 hours 57, but we had like traffic and roadworks, and then we had that massive crazy downpour in sort of like the Midlands, well, over towards Manchester way as well. And if we calculate this at 545 miles at 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, we actually consumed 143 kilowatt hours of energy. We had 91% yesterday, and we covered 150 miles. Let's have a look. Yep, 140 miles. We're doing constant 70 miles an hour. The car battery is at 37%. That's the sort of range that we're going to get. And if we charge up to full at some point, we should get 260 miles. 260 miles at 100% on the way we've been driving. Having the Kona to do this trip from Scotland down to the north of France is pretty easy actually. It just felt like a normal car. I had to stop twice, and then last night we had a major top up of 1 hour and 27 minutes. Just because the Polar, after 90 minutes you get fined £10 for overstay charges, so I thought I'll run it towards near the end, and we managed to get up to 91%, which I think we filled our boots up to about 51 kilowatt hours of juice. So the overall experience of this trip for the last couple of days has been quite easy. The main one, when I was coming down yesterday, the only thing that really bothered me was the traffic and the roadworks. So that had nothing to do with the car. The car actually performed really well, and the LKA steering assist and sort of like navigation stuff was really good. The sat nav kept on updating me saying, this is a shorter route, do you want to take it? I did, and it seemed to do that quite often. It kind of kept up to date with like the actual traffic, so I quite like it in that sense. I think maybe for some people it might be a bit too much, maybe a bit too much information, but if it's going to help you save 10 minutes here or 15 minutes there, then I don't see why it's not beneficial to actually use it. So the bottom line is, I'm really pleased with this car for what it can do, and to do this trip that I really wanted an EV for. And the Leaf 40 definitely isn't the ideal car to do this in, even though it's possible. But with this, it's a no-brainer. You just don't have to even think about it. You just get in, drive, stop to charge while you eat, or stop to charge while you have a siesta. You know, you've still got that hour and a half of break, and everyone needs a break anyway, so it's not like I was going to constantly drive 400 miles non-stop yesterday. I'd say for long journeys, there's nothing really much to it, to this car. Easy peasy. So this is all we got time for, and if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll update you on the return trip and the rest of the holiday next time.